As a bankruptcy firm, Mitchell, Cunningham, and Bowling realizes many people are worried about their finances. We're here to guide you through the next steps to restart your life with easy video appointments. New clients don't have to leave home to get information about becoming debt-free. Also, convenient in-office appointments are available at the low cost of $340 upfront for a Chapter 13. You can be on your way to being debt-free. Contact Mitchell, Cunningham, and Bowling today or visit our website at mcdebtfree.com. We are here to help you.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 5.
Officially halfway through the work week, and we are on that final home stretch. Welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 5. I'm meteorologist Gabe, and like I mentioned, it's Wednesday evening, which means just 2 days left in the work week, and we're shaping up for a fantastic forecast as we transition into the end of the week. Colder temperatures, they do move in, and we're talking even colder than what it was this morning. And that's going to make for a frigid start to our Thursday, but better temperatures are not far away, actually coming in pretty soon, and we'll track when that happens here in just a moment. Matt is joining us live in Tishomingo County tonight talking about recovery efforts. Matt, what are we going to hear about at the 5 o'clock hour?
So, of course, we're talking about, again, the recovery going on here in Tishomingo County. And to keep this in perspective, everything here started falling from the sky getting close to 2 weeks ago, more than 10 days ago, and there is still wintry precipitation on the ground, less and less of that. And again, a lot of trees, as you can see behind me, severely damaged. But we will be talking to the tourism director here in Tishomingo County about some of the recovery to this point, and also some plans that are starting to come together related to how you can help as far as trying to organize donations and things of that nature. Because, Gabe, I think one of the things to keep in mind is there is the immediate issues that go along with this, such as the power outages, such as the water issues that continue to get better. But there are also some lingering issues as well, where you have people that have been out of work for quite a while. So there's going to be some people that do have some significant financial needs. We'll talk more about that coming up here in a couple minutes. Live in Tishomingo County, I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lopp on Mississippi Live Weather.
We're bringing it back in here to the Room to Room Weather Center. We're focusing on that first 12, and temperatures are going to be the big story. 6 p.m., 38 degrees at freezing by 9, midnight, 28 degrees, and we're going well past that margin into those early morning hours of our Thursday. And you see how low we're talking about, 23 degrees, still with those breezy conditions, allowing for a little bit of a wind chill in that forecast as well. As we get a look out there in Monroe County, Aberdeen showing up with a gloomy forecast. A big thank you to the folks at the Prairie Agency for allowing us this shot here in Aberdeen, there through the North Mississippi Storm Chaser cameras. But again, 41 degrees, still some of that saturated air, allowing for that cloud cover to be in place. But the further west you go, there is some breaks in that cloud cover, seeing that in Itala County tonight. And that's going to allow those colder temperatures to move in place, because all of that heating here at the surface basically escapes across North Mississippi. We are getting those conditions in Oxford. Again, some of that blue showing up, but 10-mile-an-hour winds from the north mean that wind chill is going to make these already cold temperatures feel even colder. Looking at temperatures, we're in the mid to upper 30s north of Highway 6, low 40s for the rest of us, but all of that is a significant difference. There have been some data issues down there close to Monroe and Lowndes County. So disregard this. Let's focus on the difference in those temperatures, and that's going to be in the negative direction. As you can see, a significant drop over the past 24 hours as that frontal system has cleared and given us this dry but colder air in the process. As we look at our Mama Justice Doppler radar, continues to be those dry conditions overhead, with that low pressure center pushing more into Georgia, the Carolinas, and up the East Coast. As we take a look on our, of course, Mama Justice Doppler radar carrying over into these evening hours, we will see those dry, still gloomy conditions stick around east of 45, but that break in that cloud cover does happen for a large portion of North Mississippi as we get into those early evening and even into the late evening hours. I mean, looking specifically in North Mississippi, all of that cloud cover just gradually shifting out there towards the east and leaving us with some slightly clearer conditions. Now, what this does is that blanket basically going away, and you know that you get colder when you don't have a blanket. Similar for our atmosphere. You take that blanket away, those temperatures are allowed to get to the surface and therefore cool us off. And we're going to be dealing with exactly that for our Thursday morning. We continue to see that with that northerly wind in place, and that's going to make, again, those cold temperatures feel even colder for those early morning commutes on our Thursday. So we are talking about temperatures in the low 20s, wind chill values into the teens for a large portion of North Mississippi. But as the day goes on, temperatures do trend nicely. 3 p.m., 44 degrees, plenty of sunshine going to be in store, and this is a fantastic looking forecast. I know it's a fantastic forecast for a lot of us that are still dealing with the effects from 2 weeks ago, and that's where we toss it over to our chief meteorologist, Matt Laupon. He is over in Tishomingo County tonight talking about those recovery efforts, talking about the impacts that are still in place. You know, Matt, a lot of areas still have a long way to go, and we're talking about getting back to normal.
Absolutely. And while the forecast is clear and dry, it is fairly cold. And that's one of the things that, again, so many folks here in Tishomingo County, more than 3,300 folks at this hour without power. That is, again, unfortunately, yet another cold night that they're going to have to sustain tonight. And many of them have been, you know, with friends. I was talking to someone out here in Iuka a few minutes ago that they're going to have to shift the place they're staying tonight because someone that they've been staying with is leaving town. So these are just the day-to-day things that people in Tupelo and many other spots, you know, are past, and it's unfortunately something that's not the case yet at this point here. I do want to bring in Farron Rainey, who's with the Tourism Bureau, and you're kind of the person who's not just, you know, getting the information out about what's going on here, but also trying to help get volunteers organized as well. And you guys have needs.
Yes, we have a lot of needs here. Volunteers is a big need that the county needs all over. And that is one thing that our mayors have asked for because last week, you know, the whole county came together. Tishomingo County takes care of their own. And we've seen that. But everybody had to go back to work. Yeah. And so now we need volunteers to go door to door and help deliver the supplies that we have finally gotten delivered to us, but we need those volunteers to go door to door to help us check on everybody that are still stuck in their houses, who still are without power. And you know, I have volunteered to be the head person that people can call if they are willing to come and help volunteer, and then I can disperse them out to the different areas that are needing these volunteers.
One of the things you mentioned is that there are still folks that can't get out at this point more than 10 days later.
That is correct. Yes, we have elderly people that cannot get out, but then there are also people that still have lines down, and they're not either they're not able to drive their vehicles out because of these lines, or they have trees down that are, you know, they're not able to get out. So yeah, we have a lot of damage. Beautiful county here, but you know, these trees have fallen and they have caused a lot of damage.
I mean, they're beautiful to look at, and listen, I love trees. I live in the middle of a forest myself, and I was just blessed that where we were at in Tupelo, we didn't have as much, and you guys unfortunately took one of the biggest hits of anybody. You know, there's the immediate needs, again, the immediate needs for volunteers, but another one of the issues that's kind of creeping up is you have people that if they've been stuck, and our power's been out at work, haven't been able to make money the last couple of weeks, there's going to be some financial needs here on a personal level, unfortunately.
That is correct. Yes, we also have the financial needs for people who don't have the money for gas, for the generators. They don't have money for propane. They've used up all their money for these extra expenses that they have. And so if people are willing to make donations, we are in the process of trying to figure out how we can set up a fund where you can make these donations to help us give out gas vouchers and things like that. So in the immediate future, we hope to make an announcement where you can send these donations to help us get these needs met.
Yeah, because that's going to be a huge issue for so many folks. Because, I mean, let's be clear, the economy being what it is, a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck. Yes. And extra propane bills, extra, gas bills, if they were lucky enough to have a generator, that just wasn't on the playing cards.
No, not at all. Not at all. And I mean, people are going through gas like crazy with these generators.
Yeah, it's just one of those unfortunate things. Well, we've been looking for that information. We will make sure, get my attention, you know how to do that, and we will get it out there once you have it fully in place to where people can give. And again, North Mississippi, we're going to have to have that. And again, we do need volunteers. If they want to reach out to you to do that, how can they do that?
They can contact me on my cell number at 662-279-6738. You can call or text me, and we'll greatly appreciate any help that we can get. If you want to come and help, like I said, hand out these supplies, or if you can come and help get these limbs and trees out of people's yards, that would be greatly appreciated.
Absolutely. Appreciate that. Farron Rainey, thank you so much for talking to us here on Mississippi Live. And again, prayers for y'all. I know you personally don't have power back, and it's just so many folks around here. I know it's been a long stretch, and we're praying for y'all.
Thank you, Matt. We appreciate you coming up.
Okay. Come up here after the break. Gabe will be talking in more detail again about the cold night, how cold all you will end up being for the first part of morning on your Thursday. And we're looking ahead toward the weekend forecast. Mississippi Live weather continues here from the Room to Room Weather Center right after this.
Save today at Room to Room's President's Day sale. 55% off furniture and mattresses, 20% off accessories,
and 24-month special financing.
The time to act is now.
Room to Room Tupelo, where we know there's no place like your home.
Look at Wanda, ready to rock her big presentation. But first, lunch. Sweet Pepper's Deli. Delicious, celebratory, but is it quick? The Cobb salad. Tender oven roasted chicken, topped with cheese. Prepared, plated, and served? In 6 minutes? Is this for real? Well, of course. Well done, Wanda. Sweet Pepper's Deli. Yes, ma'am. Life is sweet.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. But only you can prevent wildfires.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynor.
Well, you can see that shift in the weather pattern happening as we speak, especially out there in Cleveland this evening. 41 degrees, but look at those winds. We're talking 12 miles an hour, sustained winds out of the north end. If that number isn't enough to tell you, well, Old Glory will let you know for itself. But nonetheless, we are still enjoying those dry conditions. 41 degrees in Cleveland. Jade in the chat, I saw your weather report. 40 degrees over in Columbus and dry. And if we jump over towards Greenville, similar conditions. And not only is it similar, there isn't one difference, and that's going to be those clearing skies as we get into those evening hours. This clearing that you're seeing take place, that's allowing that cold air to move over the top of North Mississippi. Over in Starkville, still a little bit of a gloomy forecast, but I do see a few breaks over there in southern Oktibbeha County. But nonetheless, 41 degrees, still some of that saturated air in the area. We do see a little bit of some damp spots on those roadways as well. So nonetheless, that moisture is trying to clear on out. Those northerly winds will help do that. The sunshine we're getting tomorrow will also assist in that, but nonetheless, this is a much better pattern, but it is a much colder pattern as well, as Matt mentioned a moment ago. Our Mama Justice Doppler radar staying dry across North Mississippi, as has been the case after our gloomy day yesterday, but that cloud cover still trying to linger in the forecast for as long as possible. You can see what we're getting is this wraparound moisture that's happening with this low pressure center in the Carolinas. What that means is we are getting some of that cloud cover moving over the top of Memphis and North Mississippi that's trying to linger in our forecast. But if we put a loop on this and allow me to do that here behind the scenes, you can see after, an extended period of time, it'll do it. Got a buffer. I have faith. I probably shouldn't have faith. Okay, well, I don't know if it's going to do it. Basically, what I was trying to get at is all of this cloud cover starting to push out there towards the east, meaning that cloud cover not going to be a concern for us tonight, and that drier air. I'm not talking about drier skies. I'm talking about drier air will move into the forecast for any of those early morning plans on our Thursday. Day planner, 7 p.m., 35 degrees, still with those partly cloudy skies. By 11 p.m., already in the upper 20s. So we're talking about a significant difference even from what we had this morning, and this morning was pretty cold as well. As we track out that cloud cover, we're going to see that start to push off towards the east by 7 p.m., moving right along that Alabama state line and leaving the rest of North Mississippi with those dry and clear conditions. Again, when it's clear, that's what allows all of this heat that's at the surface to lift into the atmosphere and escape from us here in North Mississippi. That warm air that's been trapped here, that's been what's keeping us pretty mild. Once that goes away, we're talking about a significant drop in those temperatures, and we'll really see that by the time we get into our Thursday morning, despite some of that thin cloud cover trying to move into the forecast. That thin cloud cover, not going to make a difference. Let's go ahead and track those low temperatures. And as you get a look at some of those readings, we're talking about 19 in Holly Springs, in an area that was highly impacted by 2 weekends ago, that winter storm that moved through. Still dealing with the effects today, still several without power, and so go ahead and prepare. Warming centers are still open if you need to head over there, and that includes folks in Iuka and Red Bay, as Matt was talking about tonight. So head over to where you need to go to stay warm tonight, but luckily it's only up from here. Unfortunately though, We do have a cold forecast accommodated with that wind chill, dropping those already cold temperatures into the teens in New Albany, Tupelo, Holly Springs, Boonville, Amory, even as far south as Winston and Noxubee County. So folks all across North Mississippi seeing a drop in those temperatures. And luckily, that'll start to get better as soon as we reach our Friday. And we'll track that again here in just a moment. But pick up at the school bus, definitely be a time to layer up. So kids that are in school for your Thursday, make sure to have those layers handy because they will be essential as we head off for that school day. 44 by drop-off, though, and a good bit of sunshine. That's the difference for our Thursday, is the fact that this cloud cover pushes out of the area and leaves us with those mostly clear skies once again. Now, a large part of this early morning forecast on our Thursday is going to be partnered with some of that patchy fog. That, along with this cloud cover, will start to recede once again into the east, into Alabama, leaving us with those dry and clear conditions over the top of North Mississippi by the early afternoon. So enjoying a great end to the school day despite maybe heading to school in some gloomy conditions. That continues into those afternoon plans and towards the evening plans as well, meaning that we are enjoying all of that sunshine. The unfortunate part about it is with all of the sunshine, our temperatures aren't exactly warming up too much. They'll actually be very similar to what we got for our afternoon temperatures today, so pretty consistent across the board. We're 44 Water Valley, 44 in Tupelo, 40 in Iuka, 45 Starkville, and 47 Kosciuszko and Belzona. But like I said, it only goes up from here, and that does start on your Thursday night, working our way into our Friday morning. As you can see right here, we're basically getting this ridge that's over the top of us, and this ridge has been what's providing us this cold air, but once that ridge starts to move east, we get a southerly wind back into the forecast, and all of that Gulf air, meaning some of that Gulf moisture and Gulf temperatures, build its way north into North Mississippi and allow for some mild, above average temperatures moving in by the time we get towards our Friday morning and afternoon. So you can see that starting to build in more and more by the time we get towards those early hours of our Friday, pushing all of that moisture away from us here in North Mississippi. Unfortunately, we are just enjoying the warmth from the Gulf and not necessarily the moisture that's attached to it. So Friday morning, seeing already a warming trend taking place with 30 degrees in New Albany, 30 in Tunica, 31 Grenada, 29 Columbus, and 30 in Macon. Now, this is still a cold forecast, but comparatively speaking to what we'll have on Thursday morning, we're trending better. And you'll hear me mention that a lot. Wind chill not going to be as much of a factor, so not seeing overly breezy conditions. A calm wind, not impossible out of the south, but really what that's doing is building in that warmer air. And where that will be felt is by the time we get towards our Friday afternoon. When we talk about a night and day difference, this is the perfect example. Night and day difference, Thursday afternoon to Friday afternoon, in the best way possible. We kind of see that westerly wind pushing into North Mississippi, and this front that's just towards our north, that's going to try to move into the area, but fortunately for us, it's not exactly going to have significant effects attached to it. As you can see, those winds briefly heading in from the north, and that's what's going to keep those drier conditions around. But fortunately for us, we're not going to see a drop in those temperatures like a cold front normally does. So this is one of the weaker frontal systems and not going to change our temperatures too much. As we get into our Friday afternoon, again, here's a look at those high temperatures. Yeah, 60s in New Albany, in Tupelo, 62 in Houston, 63 Eupora, Starkville, Macon, and 63 out there towards Aliceville, Alabama. So it trends better really quick in the best way possible. And we are excited about that forecast. It's unfortunate we do have that cold air trying to linger, but when we have this to look forward to on our Friday, definitely makes us excited, especially as we head off towards our game of the week. It is going to be Ingomar versus West Lowndes over there in Columbus. And first tip, all the way to that final buzzer, going to be clear conditions. This was a football game, I'd be thrilled with this forecast. 48 degrees at the first tip, 46 degrees by that final buzzer. Again, tip-off is at 7 o'clock, and we will have those highlights coming up here from the Room to Room Weather Center on your Friday night. And a big thank you to the folks there with Casey Lott, with Langston a lot, providing us with this forecast and providing us with those highlights as we get into our Friday forecast. Friday, trending warmer, 60 degrees by the afternoon. A brief dip Saturday. That's going to be the effects of that front we just saw a moment ago. But once we move into Sunday, that warm air builds once again, and then we're going to be back in the low 60s. And low 60s, that's just the start of the warming trend heading into next week. By Tuesday, by Wednesday, upper 60s, low 70s. You excited yet? I know I am. Definitely looking forward to that forecast. We are tracking a few systems that are moving into the area that could potentially bring a few rumbles of thunder. That's off into the extended forecast. Looking at the next 7 days, aside from a few cold hiccups, this is looking like a great 7-day forecast. Excited about that for sure. Excited to, of course, track this out with you guys every step of the way. And of course, we will be doing that here from the Room to Room Weather Center, enjoying the warmer air that's eventually going to move in. And of course, we'll have every detail of that on the Mississippi Live Weather app. Whether you want to watch our broadcast or track it for yourself, the free app allows you to do so on iOS and Android, so make sure to download that today. And our next broadcast, that's also on the app. We're going to be live at 6 o'clock with more updates out of Tishomingo County. We also have a look in there towards Prentice County on how the recovery efforts have been for them. All of that coming up at the 6 o'clock hour, so keep it here for the very latest.
Growing up, Gabe was naturally curious. When he began to discover weather, Gabe just didn't want to know what was happening, but he wanted to know why it was happening. Gabe became fascinated with tornadoes, and it impacted his life. He wanted to pursue a career in meteorology. Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.